Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Fadila. I am one of a student at English Department of Literature in Pamela University. Today I'm going to share with you a lesson about language change which I've got from my social linguistic class. This presentation will be based on my own knowledge and I already done my mapping, so this is the result. This is the my map for the language change that we gonna use for today's lesson. Yeah, let's start with the explanation of the language change. So, what is language change? Well, a language change is a new forming or a new creation or a new variation of language that uh, the process of making a new formula or a new variation or new type of language that happen because of some action such as revising or eliminating or decreasing or improving or changing the element of the language such as lexical element or semantic element or syntactic element. So for example, if you are decreasing a word, so that is what we call as a, language change. Language could be changing because language is a dynamic thing. So it could be changing by the time, not in a short time, but in some period it could be changed. So what causes the changing? So what causes language to be change? Well, we have four causes in here. The first one is economy. In producing a language, we are often to think economic. So we are doing decreasing or eliminating some words or some sound to make it more economic. So, for example, when we are going to say I want to, people now are making a new creation and they are changing it to become I wanna. So not I want to, but I wanna, and not I'm going to, but I'm gonna. So that's what we call it as the economic that cause a language change, because we are wanting to simplify the words and using or releasing a less energy to use that language. So we are decreasing it or eliminating some part of it. And the next one is a variation. I already talked about a variation of language in the previous video, but in here I'm going to describe it as if you are a different person, so you are having a different way to talk, so it creates a new language, and it's causing a new change, because in the process of making a new variation of language you are doing a changing. So yeah, that's the variation of language. For example, a new variation of a language in Indonesia, we have Gaul language, where actually to say I in Indonesian language, we say aku or saya, but because of the new variation, which is the Gaul language, we are saying gua for or gue for saying I. So that's what we call it as language variation, because of a new type or new variation of language. We are changing the language itself. Okay, now let's go to the transmission. Well, transmission could be also called as an imperfect transition or transformation or delivering from one generation to next generation. Uh, for example, apron. To say apron, in the past, it is actually napron, but because people misunderstand it or mishearing it as an apron, so it is becomes apron, not napron anymore, because they are um, hearing it wrongly. So that's happen. The imperfect delivered of one generation to the other that cause a new change of language from an apron, because they hear it as an apron, so it becomes apron. The next one is a social prestige. Well, social prestige cause a language change. For example, when you are actually a lower class person, which talking like with a casual language or informal language, and you are become the upper class person, you are going to change your language to become a more formal language or more well educated language, or using some new language that is not using uh, in your past life as a lower classes person. So yeah, that's the cause of the language change. Now let's go to the type. So the type of language change could be happen into lexical. So the first one is lexical. So it means just like before, I already told you about the apron. So it's from an apron to apron. So that is a lexical change in it. So yeah, from an apron to apron, we eliminating the n sound because it becomes an apron right now. That's the lexical chain. Now let's go to the phonetic chain. So phonetic chain is a chain of language that happen because of for example, eliminating of the phonetic sound or the sound of the language. For example, in the past, we are saying a father with v sound, like v with a v sound. We are saying father, no, not father, like now with f sound. So we are saying father to father. That's what we called as a language change. It happened because of again the wrong delivered of from one generation to another generation. It also could be happen because of a different dialect of um, language. I mean, of some people. And then we go to the spelling. So the spelling type, it means that some people are spelling some word differently. So the different spelling causing a different is causing a new variation or a new form of language, or change the language. For example, from for from English language, Indonesia borrows some words, and they spell it differently. To say refrigerator, they say kulkas, which borrowing English word from cool case. From cool case to cool cast is a new spelling. It's a different spelling. It's a chain of spelling. From cool case, a case that is cool, to the cool cast. So this is a different spelling of language that causing the language is changing. So yeah, that's the example for this spelling change. And then we have semantic and syntactic chain. Well, semantic change, for example, people in this time uh, saying good sometime in is for the other meaning. They are not really means good. So it's not a literal meaning of good, but they have kind like a new meaning about it. It could be um sexy, it could be uh okay. So that's the changing of a meaning, which means that the semantic could be having an effect of the language change. And the the syntactic change is, it means morely like the rules is changing. For example, when people say i I want to become I wanna, so the rules is changing. It's not I am going to anymore, it's I wanna. So the 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 structure or the rules of the language or the words of the sentence is kind of like changing. So that's the synthetic change. Now let's go and see the factors that can influence the language change, the changing of language. Well, the first one is age. Have you ever heard a baby or a toddler to trying to talk? I mean, when they are learning to talk, they are kind of changing a word to another one. For example, when they say I love you, they are saying I love you or I love you. So that is new way of uh, saying I love you. That is new form of saying I love you because of their age. They are toddlers, so they are still learning and make a new language of for their own self. So yeah, and then another example of age that influence the language change is if you are a teenager and you are talking to your friend, you are using an informal language. But when you are talking to the elder, you are going, or I mean elder or teacher or someone that is older than you are going to change your language to become more formal. So that's how the age could influence the changing of the language. So yeah, let's go to the second one. The second one is gender. So how gender can influence the language change? Well, we all know that women are tends to be more excited about answering a question. So they are kind of like using many words to answer a question. So I mean more much than boys. So when a girl uh, answering a question, they will have many vocabulary and many and ways to explain something in much words. So yeah, for example, woman will say, I think I want to buy a new bag. And boys change it, simplify it to become, I think I wanna buy a new bag. So that's what a women by the gender that cause a language change. The boys tends to make it more simple, while the girl are using kind like a more um complicated words. So yeah, that's the gender. Now let's go to the social classes. Just like I've taught before, social classes. Well, will cause you using a new a different language, so causing you produce a new language. For example, if you are lower class and then you are going to the upper class, you have to talk like them, like you are saying words in a more polite language, or in a formal language that show you your identity as a upper class, an upper class person. So yeah, social classes is kind like um, causing the language change. Also, um, another example is by the profession that you have. For example, if you are a police, you are not using the word car to say a car, you are saying a vehicle. So because you are a police, so you are saying it as vehicle, not a car. Um, that's the factor that can influence the language change. Now we are going to the example. This is the example, the result of language change. The first one is pidgin, and the second one is Creole, or pidgin and Creole. So yeah, the most simple definition of these two is a blended of, or a blending of two or more language that is happen and causing um, a new way to communicate to each other. Pidgin is not having the standardization of becoming a language. So, for example, if I am Indonesian and I met a French person, and we can't understand our each other language. So we are doing this to say that I want to eat. I want to eat. I do this, and the French person will understand it as I want to eat. But it is not a new language. It's just a sign that we use because of the time. So yeah, that's what we call as pidgin, and we are going to go to the Creole. Creole is the further use of pidgin, which make it uh, forming a new language, or created a new language. And the Creole is having its native speaker, while the pidgin is not. So Creole could be um, could be said as a new language, while the pidgin is not, because it's not having the standardization. Well, the example for Creole is Jamaican Creole. People in Jamaican speak in a blending of English and African language. So it's Jamaican English and African language blended together and create a Jamaican language. And a Jamaican language, Jamaican Creole, uh, the way how to say me, they are using e, not not e. So they are saying me like with the e sound, and yeah, that is what we code as Creole. The result or the example for the language variation. So, guys, I think that's all for today. That's the language change explanation that I know. Uh, I'm sorry if I still am making a lot of mistake, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.